tournament that you're watching right now. So it's helping to kind of put the prize pool on for this event. So if you want to donate to the stream, that's what it's going to go to. It's going to go to the prize pool of this tournament. As we kick off in this best of 5, game 1 in the bottom right-hand side, our Red Protoss player, is Harstem in this Dutch showdown. In the top left-hand side, our blue Terran player, uThermal. Now, uThermal played against Harstem the other day in our Balanced Test Mod tournament, went 1-2 and lost the series and was eliminated from the group. So now, we see what happens in a best of 5 scenario. We get this started up, and we look to see what will happen. The winner of this will play the winner of Hurricane and Bly as well, so make sure you stick around for that. We will have our other semi-final and our finals today, so all of that will play today. All of that is coming up at some stage. MC Crash, McCrash coming in with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime, much appreciated. How you doing? Thank you for your support. As I said, every single sub helps the stream, and that one is no different. Appreciate it. Get some love in the chat for a new subscriber. I was just going to be seeing our SCVs producing off the command center here at the moment. Orbital command will start to morph in. Reaper on the way out in the main base. We do have the Nexus and a Cybernetics core building up from Harstem over on the bottom right-hand side. So again, they're set to go as Harstem is and uThermal too, in fairness. Both of them are on a pretty standard expansion in the early stages here. Factory on the way up, getting going. Maybe we're going to be moving around through the natural expansion here and just going to be seeing the command center dropping into play. Wolfgate starts up on the Cybercore, and not really sure what to expect out of this series in general. I wouldn't be super surprised if uThermal played some mech, because uThermal's been all about changing it up and playing different sort of crazy styles lately. I would imagine it's going to be a good mix of a series. Different builds from Harstem each game. He's got a good variety of PvT openers, and same on the other side from uThermal. He's got a good variety of TvP openers and also mid-game compositions, etc. So it really should be quite interesting to see what both of them end up doing, because of all that variety that can be involved. Reaver coming out over to the right-hand side is going to go moving around here. Rover facility starting up from Harstem coming into play. Observer starts up. So it does get this Observer started here, as we're just going to be seeing the Sentry. On the way out as well, a couple of gateways on the way down. Obviously, with the Robo up, we're going to see a pretty fast Robo Bay and movement in towards Colossus. So that makes a lot of sense, right? Just getting into Colossus early, getting that set to go. We see this Observer from Harstem is beginning to make its way out across to the upper left side of the map. Banshee on the way out, so uThermal going to get quite aggressive here. He's on extra barracks, so it's going to be bio, but with the Banshee and tank production, you really set up into a play which is, you know, your units early are going to have a lot of damage output, so an aggressive push absolutely is on the table. There's absolutely a possibility of what could happen here. So that's a scan, and that is just about a dead Observer, so Observer will fall. Two tanks, and a bunch of Marines will start heading forwards. Here comes the Banshee out into the center. Continuing to head around to the bottom side of the map. Third Nexus is on the way. Typically, the third Nexus doesn't come up too quickly in this scenario, but because he's pretty slow on the other upgrades, you know, Twilight and the Forge just coming up now, the third should be pretty safe to take. Let's see, the Colossus on its way out. We'll still have to do something against this army. As uThermal will see that base, and yeah, one Colossus might not be great here because the siege tanks can target fire Colossus down, so maybe this is a good opportunity for uThermal to deny a base, and well, let's find out. Tank siege is up to start this off, and first tank shot is pretty good, dead center on the Adepts. Now with bunker even coming down, yeah, it doesn't feel like this third base is going to finish. Or he's going to be staying alive. Harstem looks like he's going to go for this, maybe because he let the base finish. Obviously that was a misplay, should have gone for the cancel. Very easy cleanup for uThermal here on the third, so it's a good start for him. Another bunker setting up, so actually uThermal's going to keep kind of slow pushing this position. Pylon on the front taking quite a few hits, looks as though it's going to go down. So Pylon will be denied, the couple extra tanks sieging up. Stim pack on the way out from uThermal. Getting that up and running as more Marauders, Marines, the tank all heading down the bottom at the moment. Banshee's still fighting this gateway here, looks like that will drop in a moment or two. This is a really tough position for Harstem, who's kind of really pinned back on his base and can't really move out until he gets charged, because until then his gateway units are just somewhat useless. They're just going to get shot down way too easily. I mean, his tanks and the bunkers are in great positions now as well, so what do? I love this tank position. Next to the bunker means that it's choked up. The only position a Zealot can hit this in is here, one Zealot, or all the way around this bunker, then get to the other side. That's the issue. These tanks are going to be so difficult to get on top of. The only good thing is perhaps the ability to set up a few of these and, you know, maybe pick away a few of them with Colossus, but then the tank should be able to target fire the Colossus. This tank here sets up on this low ground too. Another bunker, and uThermal will continue to expand on this position. 3 Colossus now. Harstem might try and break out with this one. Harstem is completely cornered. Starting to lose his Robo Bay. He's building a War Prism now after 3 Colossus, so this Templar Archives comes up as well. Do you go Storm or just build Archons to try and burst out of this? Storm in the long term might be better, but I think Archons right now is the necessity. Get some kind of tanking just going. Oh, he's going to look for feedback on the Banshees, but uThermal sees the High Temple and backs away. Keeps those Banshees alive. The thing is, the Banshees can't just cloak up to waste their energy. uThermal probably will lose both Banshees now. Okay, doesn't lose them, but they go very low. I mean, obviously, low HP, easier to pick off. Assimilated loss from Harstem. He's going to lose a lot of his mining here as the War Prism goes across the map. Here comes Harstem for the bust. First bunker goes down very quickly, brings the Marines out of the other bunkers, make sure that they're going to be able to join the fight as soon as possible. First Colossus targeted down by those tanks, and Harstem will clean up a couple tanks and a couple bunkers and back away up that ramp. One Colossus lost, a good few units lost amongst that as well. You can see resources lost massively in favor of uThermal. Looking really good for him in that regard. His third CC now on the way up as well. He did go into that before the 4th and 5th barracks, but obviously quite an aggressive attack, hence the lateness of the third. You know, investing a lot of minerals into bunkers, etc. So that's where a lot of his minerals went, instead of investing in the production structures or the command center back at home. Observer still sat out the front. The 2 Colossus back down into the natural. Multiple Archons down here as well. Our Warp Prism from Harstem set up on the top side of the map, and Medivacs, Bio, and tanks coming down the bottom. Reinforcements. We've not seen this army really reinforced for a while, and that means it's a really good time for Harstem to come in for this fight. In fact, Harstem couldn't have come in at a better moment. uThermal's units are so close to getting here. He's going to spread out and stim, but he's lost the tanks now, so he's lost a lot of the initial power in this position. And Harstem, I think uThermal has to go home, because if Harstem pushes right now, and after uThermal loses more units, uThermal could just die because he loses units, but if he goes home and defends, Harstem shouldn't be able to take a good trade. One more Colossus left over. uThermal is going to be forced backwards here. The tank going to fall. +1 armor on the way up. Lincoln +1 on the way on the Twilight and the Forge. Still setting up into this at the moment here as other units gather up on the upper left. Here comes Harstem counterattacking. I didn't mind the position uThermal sieged up in. I just feel like if he was pressing forwards aggressively, you lose a lot, and then the counterattack comes and maybe it's unstoppable. Right now, it should be stoppable. It's a lot of Zealots, but tanks on the high ground, good defensive position, and well, looks like uThermal should be okay. A couple of Zealots on the high ground. The Archon getting in range is nice. It's a real key play, warping in on top of the tanks as well. Harstem still might get something done on this. Bio kiting away from Zealots on the low ground, Zealots on the high ground being evacuated by the Prism as well. Third CC is morphed into a planetary even, so uThermal really just precautionary against the attack, or very cautious against these attacks so far. We're going to see +1 attack on the Forge finishing. The blink on the Twilight Council going to be done soon as well. Probes long distancing at the moment. Here's Army's going to go committing into this planetary. uThermal's going to lose the third CC then. So third base down for uThermal. And his Liberators will come in to protect this position. Harstem with his own third Nexus on the way up is going to end up a base up. So what's kind of really happened here is we've kind of just reset to an earlier stage of the game, only at the 11-minute mark with a lot of units up and running, which is kind of crazy. Army of Harstem coming down the bottom. We are going to be seeing enhanced shockwaves starting from uThermal, so getting towards the extra EMPs on the Ghosts. I mean, the problem here for uThermal is he just didn't really have units to help against the 3 Colossus, right? And even towards the end, when there was less Colossus, there's just nothing to help against the Archons either, and that's because he was so committed to the earlier push, the earlier kind of battle. And he lost a lot of his siege tanks in that fight, which is okay, but then you have to play defensively. And that's what he did, but it still cost him the 3rd CC. Very interesting first game of this best of 5 in the quarterfinals here. So a reminder that we have jumped back to quarterfinals now after being in the semi-final just moments ago between Solar and Zest. Solar waiting in the grand finals for whoever comes through this bottom side of the bracket. So you're seeing a little bit of army here from Harstem pushing around. These rocks are going to take quite a lot of damage. Another High Templar warping in. Top side, uThermal back finally going to get his own 3rd CC up as Harstem goes to a 4th. Reserve moving out into the center, a couple more Vikings being produced. As those Vikings start popping out, obviously you can cover War Prism access, etc. But also it'll be good if new Colossus up, although there is only still one because he did kill the Robo Bay earlier. Harstem's actually going to rebuild that exactly where it went down. So he's not been able to rebuild any Colossus yet. But in fairness, I mean, Viking and Liberators and Starport units are kind of the way to go once you've got those Ghosts up and running. That is the next kind of step of your tech tree here as the Terran player. Harstem comes back around towards the center. Liberator will siege towards this ramp. Just trying to zone Harstem's army away. Harstem's really looking to try and engage before these tanks are sieged. He backs away. Felt like that was actually maybe a better moment for him, but maybe he saw the Ghosts and that's what scared him off. High Templar do have Storm, so that's going to be a contender in these upcoming fights. Liberator sieging, tanks will look to get siege soon. 4th base will be in some trouble as uThermal comes pushing along here. Bio unloading a Liberator coming up to the front. It's going to be a dead Stalker. This little High Templar drop did okay, but nothing amazing. The War Prism gets shot down, the High Templar's killed, so that would have been an okay Storm if it was just like, oh, I dropped a Storm and, that's it. My High Templar survives for another Storm another time, but for the War Prism and the High Templar, that wasn't really a worthwhile Storm. Just doing a bit of damage, not really getting much. Now Harstem is being backed into a corner again by the Liberators. You can see the Ghost coming forwards, looking to EMP the High Templar. There is 2 High Templar which survived this in the back. Harstem dodging away from that here. More EMPs dropping down. Here he goes. Zealots, etc. charging in. Another EMP drops on the High Templar as well. And the Bio are going to spread out to fight this. The Zealots came in from behind though, and the Zealots from behind are going to make this interesting. uThermal's actually going to have to kite into the Protoss main army to be able to kite away from the Zealots, which means he's kiting into Immortal and Archon fire. We still have Liberators here that are not being dealt with at all because the Archons can't get in range. Viking's going to start landing here. Add some buffer to this Terran army. These Liberators, though, I mean, okay, the Archons are going to get rid of one of them now. Will this Liberator get the other Archon kill? No, not quite. Bio's still kiting backwards, and uThermal having this back and forth with Harstem at the moment. +2 attack on the way for uThermal. That will help a lot to get rid of the +2 armor upgrade from the Zealots, because at the moment, that's really kind of the problem. Fighting the Zealots is taking so long for uThermal, so that's taking a little while. That is hurting as we see this Bio force up to the upper left. So Bio hanging around there at the moment. Going to be seeing this command center at the front. Medevac sealing up this Bio force and just Going to see one Marine already sending itself forwards here. Zealot going to go charging in. There again are our 2 extra command centers on the way up from uThermal. So continue to get that going. So do you see Colossus from Harstem on the way out. SCV is pulling in from the right-hand side. All of this bio coming up top side here. Fire Force will start to move out once again. A few units stimming ahead of the rest, and plus 3 attack upgrade ready on this forge. Dark Shrine is dropping down about halfway done. Harstem as well. Bio gets a Zealot. Knocks the rocks down. We do see this army here. uThermal is going to be able to grab a High Temple. It's a nice catch. You're going to see the Bio Force still pressing forwards. The EMP lands on the High Templar. It's kind of low on energy anyways. Next one lands on the Immortals, dodges the Storm. Colossus coming back into play now, but just one is not going to be too worried about. We're kind of at the point where Liberator numbers might start getting to be good enough against Colossus anyways. Main base orbital relocate to the fourth base here for uThermal. He's going to have Zealots charging straight into that. No planetary fortress means units have to go and stim to deal with it, but again, it just takes a while to work your way through those Zealots. They're really tanky. So a couple bio units, especially when they consist of Marauders, takes a little while. With some extra Marines showing up, this will be shut down. This will be cleaned up as uThermal. And on siege, a couple more libs look to keep pushing forwards here. But Harstem's up in supply, and you know it's been an impressive game from Harstem. He was backed away into a corner, all the way into his natural. He lost his third. He lost so much in the fight. Someone's going to stim in. A lot of Harstem's army missing to the right-hand side. Double gets a good start to this fight, loads up a few units. I think that was a mistake, a misclick. Now Zealots into that fourth forward base. Yeah, there's still a lot of Harstem's army that's not joining these fights at all. 2 Colossus here, and I feel like that may be a bit too much, honestly. The 2 Colossus, like uThermal might have to stop with that. I mean, still being attacked on the other side. Zealots and DTs coming in. This Protoss army moving around a little bit. Stalkers blinking forwards. Good EMPs on the Stalkers, on the Colossus as well. The Bio going to spread out a little bit. Stalker's taking a lot of damage. A couple DTs wandering into this. It doesn't matter. The Protoss just has way too much, and uThermal taps out to give. We go into Ephemeron in the top left-hand side. Able to take that first game. Our Red Protoss player Harstem is up 1-0 in this best of 5. Yeah, we're playing 2 quarterfinals at a time just because 7 best of 5s in a day is kind of long. While the WCS Global Finals might be looking to manage it, it's just a bit too long for us to keep the players here for an online cup. So 2 round of 8s at a time, and obviously our semi-finals will be played separately, and the finals played separate as well. Solar waiting in the grand finals for whoever arrives from this bottom side of the bracket. Some good options as to who that may be. See Harstem of 1-0 here, looking good for the semis. Perhaps might be a European player. Obviously we have uThermal, Harstem, Blind. If Bly takes down Hurricane, it's going to be an all-European semi-final on this bottom side. Probe comes up, and the SDV will start to take a few shots early on. And the probe just going to get pushed away down onto the natural there, so looking to see what happens here on Ephemeron. A command center will start in a moment. It is going to be a Marine without a Reaper, so a faster factory from uThermal. Try and maybe be very aggressive himself here in these early stages. We'll finally get the CC down. But yeah, factory can line itself up now because, again, lack of a Reaper means you have 50 gas extra to put in the factory much early on. So Marine comes out, factory will begin. And this is typically a sign of aggression from uThermal. So continue to set up into this right now as this ready to go. Had a lot of Protoss players coming into these quarterfinals, and so far 2 of them eliminated on the top side. Solar takes down, well, 3 of them eliminated on the top side. Mana lost to Zest, then Zest lost to Solar. Solar also beat Creator. So 3 down so far today. Harstem looking to be the first Protoss to advance through to the semis. Sorry. Well, to the semis that wasn't in a PvP. This Marine is getting his laps in. He's going to be so ready for when Zerglings show up. He's going to be able to run so quick. All of that training, as we do have our Adept working its way down to the bottom right-hand side. We'll have to pull away here, but a couple of Hellions are not far off, and they will be good to help push those back if needed. Starport about to finish as well, and well, as Hellions are out, you'd imagine a medevac here for some form of a Hellion drop. As typically the very popular way of going about this is Hellions have the range to kind of fight this Adept, and they can do it for a little bit, but then a Stalker shows up, makes this a little bit tougher. Excuse me, as a couple of SCVs come in to repair up the Hellions here. Blink will start. Warpgate coming up as well. Banshee, Cloak on the way out. Still just seen a couple of units here from Harstem running away up to the top left-hand side. So they will keep on running. Now, Hellions are going to go diving by. Oh no, Harstem didn't get any sort of a block off. He has no units in the main. He's about to finish a Stalker. uThermal is waiting until he gets lined up on the probes to start firing. And well, Harstem's going to lose 4 workers pretty quickly. Hey, that might be it though, because if he can shut down the other Hellions now, 4 workers isn't that bad, right? Okay, it gets to 7. That's still not that bad. A little bit of lost mine time. 7 workers killed. Here's the bigger issue. Cloak Banshees are going to be arriving shortly, and there's no detection on the map. There's no forge for cannons. There's no robo facility even started. Banshees are going to be a major issue here. Okay, fortunately for Harstem, this first Banshee isn't across the map yet. I guess Cloak's not done yet. 20 seconds. So there's going to be about 40 seconds where there's no observer available. Harstem is going to lose a lot of workers. And that follow-up Cloak Banshee might just be what kills Harstem here. Because honestly, when you lose that many workers, some players will just straight up leave the game. Because they might be able to get some damage done on this side of the map. I mean, there's a bunker. Let's see what he can get done. He's going to see the bunker. He's going to shade up. Not much for him to really see there. The Adept commits. He will use the high ground vision to blink in, but there's a siege tank firing. Banshee arrives, will start to deal some damage. This Banshee cloaks up, so these Stalkers have to leave, so no damage done here. And this Banshee is able to get some probe kills, and Harstem will type out the G to give uThermal a tied up game number 3. In the top left-hand side, our red Protoss player is Harstem, taking on the blue Terran, looking at proxy, uThermal. Just a quick reminder again to everyone tuning in that this is my last stream before I go on vacation. We might be back tomorrow and Friday with a couple of short streams, but it's my last official cast until I go on vacation for the next couple of weeks. When I come back, we'll be full steam ahead. A lot of StarCraft going to be happening, so hopefully you guys can look forward to all of that. Should be pretty fun as we do see barracks dropping on down from uThermal. Is a gas coming in, so obviously we saw for a long time this Reaper proxy play was a way to kind of get yourself into a decent position as a Terran that kept the Protoss units at home. It allowed you to expand without pressure coming your way. As we are just going to be seeing the probe coming down the bottom right. Why am I going on vacation? I'm going to BlizzCon, so I'm going to BlizzCon in just California for a few days either side of BlizzCon. Is the plan. How many more series today? This one and 2 more. The semi-finals and finals will be following this best of 5. So, semi-finals and finals still to come. BlizzCon starts tomorrow. Oh, the WCS Global Finals starts tomorrow. Let's be fully correct. If we're going to be pedantic, yeah. It's going to be very exciting. Obviously, I'm not going to Korea. I'm just going to California for the actual BlizzCon event. Didn't know WCS started today. Yeah, it even starts today if you're in America. And that's kind of crazy as well. There's an update. Bly 3-0 already. As uThermal's production here is proxied Marauders. He's going to build a factory now back at home. So Bly 3-0 against Hurricane. How about that? Just straight through into the semi-finals. That's kind of crazy. Really fast series over there. Bly will make this an all-European semi-finals. The question becomes a ZVP or ZVT. And as we've got Harstem uThermal fighting to see which of those guys will make it to the semis as well. Two Marauders come forwards and start to fight the Stalker, but obviously the shield battery is somewhat of a frustration. Drains a lot of its energy, but, well, I mean, there's only so much you can really do. Loses the first SCV on the bunker, and the shield battery really is a big part of the answer to this. Bunker will cancel, and multiple Marauders now from uThermal going to go pressing forward. So shield battery is going to run out of energy here. We're kind of down to 2 Marauders, which is where we started this at. So he will start to get kills. He's going to lose one of the Marauders now. Stalker is going to have some probes to aid it. Stalker will go down. One Marauder remains. Another one, I think, has just popped out, but isn't moving forwards yet. Going for some probe kills. Next shield battery about to finish. That probe gets healed. The annoying part of this is that this bunker is going to be denied, so uThermal will not be able to do much more. I mean, that's it, right? There's no more SCVs here or anything, so the bunker will cancel. uThermal will pretty much just have to back away. Uses this barracks for scouting, as his factory at home, builds a Widow Mine or two, and a starport building the medevac to get those Widow Mines up and across the map as well. Let's hope for a ZVT because of the El Clasico. I mean, is ZVT really classic when it's Bly playing, though? It's always a little bit funky and a little bit different, so... Let's see probes mining up on that top left-hand side. So they're getting some good damage done here. You just see a couple of extra gates dropping down. Robot facility about to finish. Our sentry on the way out. And this barracks from uThermal continues to fly into the main base in the next couple moments. Is dropping down, so getting those up and running. Siege Tank Viking on the way out as well. Command Center in the main base. And that probe just nibbling away at the supply depot for the moment. Just getting a little bit more damage done as Harstem sends his observer down the bottom right side of the map. 2 Stalkers and a Sentry gonna nibble the barracks over here. That Widow Mine, those 2 Widow Mines actually gonna unburrow and reburrow. Just trying to, I mean, the most important thing here is typically to deny mining time. Killing a probe or 2 is obviously nice, it doesn't seem too bad, but it's the mining time that's lost that's really influential in the game. I'll tell you what, uThermal is pretty late on the CC, and because of that is 11 workers down, 3rd base. Halfway done for Harstem, while uThermal's natural is only just about to take position, so kind of feels pretty good for Harstem at the moment here. There's those few Stalkers poking away at the barracks, that's going to get pushed over to the left-hand side, so that's going to catch on fire already. Forging a Twilight on the way up in the main. Stalker continuing to fight and fire, and the barracks will likely go down. Well, Forging Twilight, just those upgrades continuing, and at the same time uThermal sending a Viking up the right-hand side of the map. So Viking all the way to the top. +1 armor upgrade. Fusion core dropping down. Starport coming in. And just going to be seeing 3 extra gateways from Harstem building up in the main base as well. His Widow Mine will burrow, and that's a nice target fire onto a sentry. That's a really effective kill. And he saves the Widow Mine. So little things like that that make Terran so frustrating to play against. As you see the fusion core from uThermal. He wants to go. Does he want to go battle cruisers? Is that really his play? That he's going to try and go Liberator range. I just feel like uThermal is setting up to kind of die to any sort of attack from Harstem. This Viking gets quite a few kills, mind you. Brings the work count right back down. It's gonna be a battle cruiser, my god. I just don't see this going well for uThermal, right? I mean, it depends how aggressive Harstem gets, but even the battle cruiser, if it gets up and gets some, onto the map, don't know what really happens here. Prism loads up some Stalkers and going to be heading down through the center of the map at the moment. So it's going to be heading to the bottom right-hand side. So double starport means 2 battle cruisers on the way. Harstem's going to be arriving with a warp prism of Stalkers, and how many gateways does he have to warp in from? 7? Maybe if he just builds like 7 zealots, he probably just wins the game. The Viking can't kill the prism because the Stalkers will just deflect it. As long as he can get the Stalkers unloaded initially, and I think he will be able to. So yeah, Stalkers can deflect the Viking. 7 zealots warp in. What does uThermal do? I mean, Battlecruiser is about to pop. He's going to lose a lot of SCVs before then. And he's going to type GG. So Thermal down and needs to win 2 in a row. Is Blue Terran in the top left-hand side. In the bottom right, our red Protoss player is Harstem. Game 4 of our series. If I unlock the War Chest Zerg skins and equip them, does that mean if I play a Zerg on the ladder who doesn't have the skins, they would look like that to me? No. It doesn't change your opponent's skins, it's only your own skins. Your opponent gets to set their own skins. That's crazy world. There might be a StarCraft mobile announced at BlizzCon? No. There's not going to be a StarCraft mobile. Honestly, I don't think there's much they're going to announce for StarCraft, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, what do you expect them to announce for like a 10-year-old game? Like, maybe a new co-op commander or so. The thing is, I was just saying this in chat, but I don't think anything they announce for StarCraft at BlizzCon is going to justify a full-on panel. I mean, they've got the pylon show at BlizzCon, so pretty much anything they can do is probably going to be done in the pylon show, right? Because they can just get the co-op guys on to talk about co-op for like 20 minutes. You know, they can maybe talk Alpha Star for 20 minutes. It's a cool way of just doing the StarCraft panel. So I honestly don't mind it, because we honestly haven't really seen I really feel like the StarCraft panels at BlizzCon the last couple of years have kind of been pretty lackluster. It's mostly been, here's going to be the war chest skins for IEM Katowice. And everyone's like, whoa, they're cool. And it's like, that's literally like it, you know? Like, there's not really been that much more. So, I'm not too surprised. Super disappointed there's not really any StarCraft merch. Is there really nothing? I didn't actually see the store yet. Is there, like, nothing at all? You're right, there really is nothing. 2 WCS things and a poster. I mean, to be fair, they've released quite a lot of StarCraft stuff before BlizzCon, right? Like, they released a bunch of StarCraft stuff, like, on the Gear Store, like, a couple months ago when they released, like, the basketball shorts and the towel and stuff. So, I mean, you know, I don't think it's that crazy. Hey, what's up, Rifkin? How you doing? It's not like they've not released any StarCraft stuff all year, though, you know. Did you set up into Game 4 here on Triton? Getting that underway, as we do have a couple of gates on the way up. So I'm getting ready to roll, and just seeing what's going to happen over the next few minutes. This game has been a pretty slow opener. The medevac about to pop, and well, there's the 2 Widow Mines that can go and lift up. That's exactly what's going to happen. Pretty much the most standard of TvP setups here. So the medevac goes boosting along down to the bottom side of the map. 2 Widow Mines inside of it, and let's see if this can deal damage here. Harstem starts up the forge after his robos. He's not going to rush the robo bay this time. You can see the 3rd nexus already dropping. So he's going to go into the upgrade and the 3rd nexus faster. He might probably, I would imagine, still go robo bay in Colossus. He doesn't have a Twilight Council down, dealing, you know, setting up any sort of upgrades. So this medevac trying to escape away. The probes kind of block the stalks for a moment. Nice unburrow reburrow. You know that's going to work to buy that little bit more time. Ooh, I feel like that's a mistake. Unburrowing the hurt Widow Mine. You would have been better leaving this one to fire and letting this one unburrow, obviously, because this one had more HP on the top side. Small mistake. Small mistake. Next is starting from Harstem on the 3rd base. Twilight Council on the way up. Let's see our army pressing forwards here. What's up, Charon? Coming in with the Twitch Prime for 9 months. Thank you so much for the 9-month resub. It's been a real quiet day in terms of subs and donations and stuff, so... You guys really upset with me for leaving you for a while, aren't you? It's okay, I get it. I thought you would shower me with love to go away, but it's fine. I get it. Just keep watching the ads, guys. Wardy, what excites you more, Overwatch or SC2? Is that even a question? Hey, thank you, Chiron, for that 9-month resub. Appreciate it. Stem, 1-1 upgrade start from uThermal in a must-win game to stay alive in this series and in this quarter-final matchup. Medevac pulls back. Reactor will drop down on the factory. We've seen that +1 attack and +1 armor starting on these forges. So getting that going, 5 extra gates dropping down. Charges on the way up, so charge coming in. Reaper is going to go wandering by in towards the main mineral line here. Doesn't do too much though. Stalker able to get a couple of shots off. Storm on the way up. As that 1-1 stim and combat shields all comes into play right now. We're going to be just seeing for uThermal. Maybe able to get on the map and really get aggressive. Third space is up from both, and looks like Harstem is even... He's setting up pylons down here. That's just vision to kind of watch 4 units come into the third. He'll expand in the forward location here, which makes a lot of sense, of course. Awesome Storm about to complete then. So again, I just went a bit more, not even gateway heavy. It's kind of just like tech into Storm pretty quick. And he didn't even go like mass gateway units, and I mean, we only have charge. It's not charge and blink. So it's been a pretty, it really has been a pretty intriguing game for that regard. This is not the usual way you see Protoss players setting up in Protoss versus Terran nowadays, honestly. Marine in the center. We do see there's medevac and a load of a few Marines that was trying to drop. Not much achieved other than a little bit of a probe pull. Armory drops down into the natural. As the bio presses forwards, the Watchtower in the center. Be taken. And see an Archon or 2 on the right hand side. Stalkers and Zealots coming up. Spy Force is going to be able to get rid of the couple of Zealots as well. And now we're going to see Harstem able to warp into the main. Marine's still firing onto this Nexus, so and some good damage out there. That's an anti-armor missile that's going to strike a lot of units. Auto turrets dropping down. A couple of Zealots are going to get taken down as well. High Templar picked off too. A lot of Zealots in the main. uThermal's doing a good job across the map though. Harstem can't really fight this, so uThermal taking some damage, but his Marines and Marauders are starting to clean that up. He's going to start pushing up this ramp. High Templars have Storms available. uThermal will have to dodge, and honestly the first one only hits a Widow Mine. The Zealots on the other side are finally going down as uThermal no longer has the anti-armor missile in this army. Can he still push through? He still has a lot of tanks and Widow Mines in the background. This is now the third and the fourth base, so 2 bases going down. Widow Mine picks off the Warp Prism here, and Harstem charges forwards. We're going to see the Archon picked off as well. Zealots still being taken down, and that's GG. uThermal will... Let's get this started up. 2-2 tied. In the top right-hand side, our red Protoss player is Harstem. Up against the blue Terran in the bottom left, it is uThermal. Game 5 of the series, get this ready to go. So yeah, game 5 of this. Don't know what happens here, to be honest. uThermal and Harstem, they played a pretty interesting series. There's been a lot of different bits and pieces going on. There's been a few different builds, a few different choices. It's been a fun one. It's been an interesting one, I think, is definitely worth saying. As you see this gateway about to finish up on the side. So the gateway is going to complete, and there's our Cybernetics core dropping down in the main. Cyber core coming into play, and Reaper on the way out from uThermal. Get this ready to roll. Dropping down as we get this going. Twilight Council on the back of the main base as well. Get this started up. Factory coming on down. So the Twilight Council choice from Harstem will give him a few options here. Obviously a blink upgrade would be the most common of ways to start this off, as the Reaper harassing, pops that probe. Probe will fall. Going around the right hand side, couple extra workers going down already as the sentry tries to get the Reaper, which makes its way up into the main base. Starport dropping down. So 2 probe kills though, not bad, as Reaper will eventually go down here, but as the Reaper drops, he got a good scout. He did see the Twilight Council, right? That's the main question. Yes, so he saw the Twilight. He's got a good read as to what this opening is going to be about and what's going to happen in it. Starport finishes and we'll start up a medevac here as well. So medevac on the way as a couple of Marines popping out. Our Widowmine will be soon to follow, and still just this hallucination of Harstem just heading down to the lower left-hand side. Everyone's going to go off. Hallucination's going to get popped. Blink on the way up from Harstem as well. It's dropping down as we do see Harstem no chill when it comes to that third base. The thing is, with this kind of blink opener, they're generally going to go into a pretty fast charge and a lot of gateways, and as you get 1 or 2 more to support, you can afford the faster third nexus. You have the units to spread out and defend it early on in the game. So Robust continues to come on down. Bunker at the frontier from uThermal. A couple of Widowmines just up the right side. I'm going to be looking to boost by into the natural expansion in few moments, so medevac will just sit around there. The Raven on the way up, and just going to see the 2 extra forges now coming up to give the double upgrade. So again, very gateway heavy here with the double forge, especially. Going to be very gateway heavy as we continue through this. So there's that upgrade start. uThermal's still back at home, just starts a 3rd CC. Not really a lot achieved at all this game. Medevac with 2 Widowmines still just sat, waiting to find an opening. Can't find its way in just yet. 6 extra gates dropping down, the 2 engineering bays building up here from uThermal. These barracks are going to drop down as well. Just need Phoenix to tag up that Raven a little bit. So a little bit of damage done. Arax will go over, drop down on the tech clap. Stimpack coming up. Perhaps combat shields as well. And yeah, we just sit and chill, sit and wait to see what comes of this eventually. up into that. Can you see this orbital is going to finish up there, so the third base is accessible now for uThermal. Still having this hallucinated Phoenix heading down at the bottom side, and Templar Archives coming up as well. +1 attack, +1 armor coming in. Some combat shields, 1/1 upgrades all coming through. Just gonna see this orbital gonna fly over to the third base. That's gonna be dropping down there in a moment or so. Our Templar Archives in the back of the natural will be done shortly as well. Really not much going on. Even this medevac is still just sat here. 2 probes and the Reaper was all that was lost at the start of this game. uThermal has built a Raven, so typically that means you're looking for some kind of a push at some stage, and that would typically be around now as upgrades finish. So we'll see if he does get a push towards the third base going on, as Withermines will begin to burrow up, and that's going to be nice blink dodging. Oh, nice target fire on the sentry though. Sentries can't blink. So that's going to be something at least. So finally gets the sentry for that, and looks as though he is going to move out. So uThermal go into the top right side of the map. The most important thing here is probably going to be the anti-armor missile, trying to hit those Zealots to really soften up the front line. A couple High Templar could look for a feedback on the Raven, of course. And they have got Storm on the way, but it's not ready yet. So it's a good little timing for uThermal to hit. If he can hit before that Storm comes in, could be deadly. uThermal does have a 30 army supply lead, and with no splash damage on the table, this is a scary few moments, especially, again, if that anti-armor missile goes down. Decent, I thought it was a decent split from Harstem, but then he kind of ran some of the Zealots back in. Those Zealots are going to absolutely melt. Storm's not ready for 10 more seconds. The High Templar go down. And uThermal is just going to absolutely crush this, clean this up. GG, and uThermal will take game number 5 of this best.